Oh, welcome back again to What's Interesting and What's More. Well, I want to quickly thank our partners, presenting partner Accenture, powered by Adobe, platinum partner AWS, gold partner Vertiv, associate partner Checkpoint, Fiserv, media partner TimesTech.in, knowledge partner Insights, and of course, our partner who's bringing all this together is Unwired. Now, a quick reminder, if you haven't yet visited the Accenture booth, you shall do that, because if you want to win something apart from seeking and learning, I think that's the right way to go about it. A Thursday that can be magical for you in winning something. Also, if you have any questions, then do feel free to ask the team, and they are here to answer all of them. Also, feedback. I would love to know what you think about it. So please do fill in the feedback forms. That will help us bring about an experience that never stops. So now, speaking about the Hall of Fame and talking about different stories, people who have motivated us earlier in the life, right? So I want to bring to you another story right now, and this is by Marty Wilkes. She was born in the year 1937. She's a former computer programmer and a logic designer. In her early years, Mary worked with computers such as IBM 709 and IBM 704. If you recall these numbers of IBM, you'll know this is initial computers to work on. At the MIT Lincoln Laboratory. Now, Wilkes was assigned to the creation of the LINC, the first interactive personal computer in the year 1961. First personal computer. She not only designed but also wrote the system software and the interactive operating system. Mary is also known to be the first person to ever have a PC in her home. Yes, first PC, a personal PC at a place. When did you get it? Well, so we're talking about way back in the days, right? It's almost 60 years, first personal computer she had then. And she stands as a Hall of Fame for us here at the FemTech. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about another person now, Adele Goldberg. Now, she was born in the year 1945. Adele started working at IBM between her junior and senior years of college, where she learned how to program unit record machines on her breaks. In the late 70s, she became a researcher at the Zero Palo Alto Research Center, the PARC, and was the only woman among the group of men who built the Smalltalk 80 programming language. The only women. The language was used to create one of the first modern graphics user interface called the GUI, featuring windows, icons, menus, and pointers, and short called as the WIMP, WIMP. And again, the Hall of Fame, as we speak proudly about the achievements back in the days, and it continues today with so many of our speakers joining us, so many of our moderators. They all bring in the thought for the tomorrow and what stands clearly ahead of us, and very important to lead us into it. So let's get into what is the agenda and what is coming our way. And to give you a little heads up, curtain down on conversations, women as global change agents and redefine the world's perception. And this is going to be on a fireside chat, digital acceleration in a newly connected world. And joining us now is the COO, Zoom Video Communications in Conversation. Before that, the CEO is Aparna Bawa from Zoom Video Communications in conversation with the CEO and Chief Thinker, GT, is Kalpana be back again with us. So over to the two of you, and it is indeed going to be very, very, very interesting. So listen to this.
Hi, Aparna. It's great having you here. There have been immense changes in the last 2 years, not only on working styles, but also, there's so much of prediction on what would happen to future of work. So do you think we pivoted on a model, or if you were to predict the future, where do you think we will land, considering metaverse, Web3, and all the others?
Right. If the pandemic is any indication, it's that the evidence is clear that I think human beings and their needs drive work behaviors. And it's interesting, in the beginning of the pandemic, we felt it was waves. Everybody had such a relief to have Zoom be able to provide a connection for them when they couldn't otherwise, connect in a very human way with their colleagues or their family, etc. And then after a while, there is a cycle back to say, okay, I want to meet in person. And I would say for now, what we see is more people realizing that they have flexibility and choice. So what does the actual model look like? It depends on the use case, but the realization has set in even from the highest of most conservative of corporate customers that would typically be in the office all day long to, very flexible work styles to realize I can have both. And I think the trick for all of us is to figure out how to enable a hybrid work experience. So if you are somewhere and I've got a conference room full of people in another place, how do I make a rich experience for all of those people coming through, and experiencing the same thing through a different media or through different modalities? And so, what the metaverse, etc., very interesting. But the reality is you're going to see a combination of experiences and a combination of different ways of participation. And I think that's what's really interesting to me. And that's something that we are definitely focused on through the features that we put out or the services that we put out. It's about delivering value for the particular use case and for a mixed group, which is now able to come together where previously they wouldn't have.
Right, totally agree. So basically you're saying the power is with us. So you have a power of choice, and that's a big power.
That's a big shift. And it's interesting. I see that mentality shift even in places where you would not expect. And I think that part is here to stay for sure.
Right. Thank you for that. I have a next question more on networking, and especially on probably, how it helps career and advancement, and possibly, how maybe at least the female workforce has been quite, slow to, or, maybe not as fast as the other gender to catch up on networking. Do you think a digitally connected world would change this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it has changed it. I mean, I just think about the impact of even a simple thing like LinkedIn, which at the time, I remember when it was first launched, we all kind of scratched our head and said, what's the power? But then within a month of using it, you realized, okay, this is pretty cool. And I think you don't really need your business card anymore, which is fantastic. So you don't have less to carry around. But for me personally, I can speak to myself. It is difficult to, we as women, or I know I experience this. I throw myself into my career. I throw myself into my home with my kids and my husband and my family, my mother-in-law, etc. It is very difficult to stop and sort of take a step back and think about the system or how you fit into the system. And really networking is a function of how we as individuals fit into a broader system. And I've actually shifted my mindset in the last couple of years to say, it's not an added tax. It's really a way to connect with people to make my existing life better and my future life better. So I make time for it as part of an ingredient. Now, some years are better than others, Kalpana. I'm going to be honest with you. When Zoom was, in the middle of addressing a significant increase in demand, we had gone from about 10 million daily meeting participants at the end of December 2019. By the end of April, we were at around 300 million daily meeting participants. 2020, 2021 has been a significant focus for me on my job, and that's understandable. And you should allow yourself that. But at the same time, think about how networking can actually help you gain efficiencies in your current job. It doesn't have to be for something future all the time. It can be a combination, it can be current, and it can also be a way of giving back to the community. Sometimes, we are so focused inwardly or on our own lives that we forget that there's a lot of joy that comes from helping someone else. And I find that it's those unexpected, when you're in in the mode of your own sort of intensity, the unexpected gift of helping someone else, it actually makes you feel good, it motivates you for more. So I would say, I think about it as making time to see how I fit in a broader system in my current experience for future experiences, etc. And then also an opportunity to give back. I can't tell you how much it has helped me personally. So for example, when I was in a career transition, someone out of the blue, I didn't even know, one of my friends made a strong recommendation, a backdoor recommendation to a future employer of mine. And turns out the reason that he did that was because I had helped him out. I had made a call or given him a great reference. And, I was just speaking truthfully to whoever had called me. But, what goes around comes around. And I think if, we have this thing in India where you talk about karma, but I mean, I think it's adopted all over the world. But I think karma is real. And so many experiences in my life where small actions can result in wonderful things for either other people or yourself. And that is also a version of networking. Networking doesn't have to be, shake hands or even LinkedIn or some of these other forums. Networking shows up in so many different ways. And I would say embrace it.
Yes, and I can see that you're passionate about probably giving back, and that's reflective of how you made time for today, I suppose. But yeah, thank you for that. I just have one more question on the World Economic Forum predicting learnability as one of the biggest hacks to make sure we are relevant in the future. What's your advice to women tech, professionals or just women colleagues, who are into tech, because the advancement is so fast? How do you think, we should cope
Yeah.
with learnability? Any hacks from you would be great.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I find that at Zoom, we look at a lot of data, but we kind of make our own decisions based on our values or our firm conviction in where the market is headed, etc. And I talk about this a lot to my team. It's very easy when you have done something in the past, it's worked. When you have, experienced or you become good at something, to keep applying a playbook. And I think this goes to your question about learnability. Sometimes, you have to respect data, what it tells you. You also have to respect your experience from the past and the good things that you can glean from it, or the things that make you effective in a new situation. But there's also a place for curiosity, and I call it coming to a situation with a blank sheet of paper, a clean mind, an unpainted canvas, and intentionally coming to something and saying, I might learn something new today, or I might change my mind, and that is okay. And it shocks people on your team because they typecast you and they're so used to you going in a certain way, and you come in and so many times, it's really funny. I used to be our general counsel, and I will come into a meeting and I will switch positions with our chief revenue officer. And it can be a shock to people. They're like, wait a second, why she's pushing on us to be more aggressive. But I think it's that blank sheet of paper and not sort of forcing yourself to get out of your comfort zone and look at situations as if it was new. And of course, you've got your experiences in the background that you can draw on, and you should draw on them, but you cannot treat them as dispositive. And so that, I would say, is the number one thing I think women can do in general. I'm not going to compare us to the other gender or, different sort of formulations. I'm not going to sort of typecast us. But we are looking good. I can say what I think we're good at. We are good at looking at multiple situations with different lenses. Bring that to your decision making. And in general, you will increase in your learning if you're curious and sort of start with the blank sheet.
Okay, great. Be curious, start with a blank sheet. Great advice. Thank you. Thanks, Aparna. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, Kalpana. So nice to meet you.
Well, indeed, interesting. I told you earlier, and it was as I mentioned. Well, thank you again to Aparna Bawa and, of course, Kalpana B for making it so insightful for all of us. With that, let's move on to the next session, which is about women in tech equality in a post COVID era. Up next.